And to the people who fight against it, the anti-woke people, all I ask is that you listen. Listen to the facts. Listen, understand how dumb this guy's argument just was and how it had nothing to do with wokeness and was just all about, skirting around climate change. I hate to wonder, but who the fuck was this guy he's talking about? He's probably awful.
Union, and he too believes that free creator of the YouTube channel Triggernometry. He's a Jew.
Oh god. Okay, let's see what he says. Who the fuck is this guy? Trigonometry for beginners. That's not helpful. Channel. Triggernometry, that's probably it. That looks like him. Oh, he's popular. Oh god, we'll probably figure this out, and I don't want to watch any more of this stuff, but you know what, we're gonna figure out what woke means to these people. What is his, let's just see, what's his most popular stuff? Oh, here we go, popular. Show this speech to a woke person. Okay. Let's see what this grand speech is.
You will not know this, but I was supposed to be the first non-student speaker for the proposition. I've now been the fourth, which means that I now have to thank all the previous speakers for making...
Was that the interview I watched a while ago? He was bland there. There was nothing to him.
Making my best points for me. And I find that the main reason now that I have left to be in support of the motion is that I am so tired of talking about woke culture. That's why it's gone too far, more than anything else. And I thank the other speakers for making the point.
Please, is he going to define it? Give me a definition that's fucking usable, bro.
For me, because it means I don't have to reiterate the point that no, free speech is not some right-wing reframing of whatever. It's the foundation of Western civilization. Upon this civilization is built and the Enlightenment values that led to it. I don't have to make the point that has been made by far better people in the past, that the only way to deal with the problem of racism is to treat people on the content of their character and nothing else. And the fact that woke culture seeks to overturn that is a new form of racism that we must all oppose. It means also...
Well, the fact is, people are not making it based on the content. Well, here's the deal. So, women and minorities are vastly underrepresented in media. Now, either A, that's because they're being judged on the content of their character and they are inherently less talented, or B, they're just getting less opportunities. I personally, and based on everything I've seen, think it must be B because they are 100% capable of being just as talented as white men. So that means they're getting less opportunities, and that's what needs to be fixed.
I will not use this opportunity to say I told you so, as someone who spent the last 5 years warning people in the West that if we continue to erode our culture, if we continue to undermine our confidence in Western values, that our enemies like Vladimir Putin will seek to capitalize on it. I will not make any of those points tonight, at all. Instead, I am not going to talk to those of you who already agree with me, which I imagine is most of you. I'm not going to talk to you because I imagine after everything you've heard tonight, you're going to vote for the proposition. I'm going to confess I will take your vote for granted. Tonight, I am the Labour Party and you are the Red Wall. Now, I want to talk to those of you who are woke and who are open to rational argument. A small minority, I accept.
Dude, I would love to have a rational argument with somebody who's pushing anti-woke shit. I would love to have that.
Because one of the tenets of wokeness is, of course, that your feelings matter more than the truth. But
what? No. No, no, no. Talk about straw man. That is like exactly what a straw man is. That's exactly what he just did.
I believe in you. I believe there are those of you here who are woke, who are open to rational arguments, so let me make one. We are told that your generation cares more than any other about one issue in particular, and that issue is climate change. We're told that many of you suffer from climate anxiety. You wish to save the planet. And for tonight, and tonight only, I will join you. I will join you in worshipping at the feet of St. Greta of climate change. Let us all accept right here, right now, that we are living through a climate emergency and our stocks of polar bears are running extremely low. I join you in this view. I truly do. Now, what are we to do about this huge problem facing humanity? What can we in Britain do? We can only do one thing. You know why? This country is responsible for 2% of global carbon emissions, which means that if Britain was to sink into the sea right now, it would make absolutely no difference to the issue of climate change.
Yeah, no, it's a global issue that everybody needs to tackle. It's actually mainly the big businesses, and Britain's only responsible for 2%. That's pretty good. Is that accurate? I want to double check that, because that would be extremely good. Of course, Britain is smaller than countries. Global. Okay, so I pulled up this chart. Global or CO2 emissions by country, by worldometer. Not super familiar with it. But yeah, let's see. So United States is number 2 with 14%. China's at 29%. That's pretty bad. I'm actually not even seeing Britain on here. India, Russia, Japan, Germany, Canada, Iran, South Korea, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, Mexico, Australia, South Africa, Turkey. United Kingdom is at 1%. That's pretty good. Number 17. But, like, yeah, it's one of those things. Like, lots of these countries are around 1 or 2%. And, you know, it's a group effort. We all have to do something. Obviously, United States and China are going to be the biggest ones. And it's going to be businesses that are mainly doing this. But, yeah, it's a group effort. Just saying you only do 2%, so why should we even bother, is reductionary at best. True, he did poison the well very nicely. Yeah.
You know why? Because the future of the climate is going to be decided in Asia and in Latin America by poor people who couldn't give a shit about saving the planet.
Per capita. Oh. Are the per capita numbers? Oh, yeah, per capita is right here. So per capita. Ooh. What is the ratio per capita? It's got to give me the ratio, right? Qatar is bad. Montenegro, Kuwait. Where is Great Britain on here? United States is doing better per capita. Oh, yeah. Based on CO2 emissions versus population, I'm sure. I think it's kind of annoying how the numbers here are literally just by share of the world and not by per capita. Like, when I organize it by per capita, I'd like the numbers reorganized, too. No. Did I miss Great Britain? Or is it really low down? United Kingdom. 5 per capita. Okay. That's a bit more significant. So that's something. I didn't think about looking at per capita. Thank you. Thank you, Nothing But Media.
No, thank you. No, thank you. It's going to be decided by poor people in Asia and Latin America who don't care about saving the planet. You know why? Because they're poor. Because they're poor. I come from Russia, which is not a poor country, it's a middling.
So because poor countries don't care about saving the planet, rich countries shouldn't either? That's a weird argument, bro.
Country. 20% of households in Russia do not have an indoor toilet. What they have is an outdoor toilet. And I don't mean one of those nice portaloos that we get here. I don't even mean a Glastonbury portaloo. I mean a wooden shack with a hole in the ground that holds a collected fermented memory of the last 10,000 visits.
Wait, is that true? This is gonna be double checking a lot of this shit. Russian households with toilet, I guess. Moscow Times. 30 million people in Russia are not connected to centralized sewage. Okay. I mean, that's a problem. But again, like it's interesting, like, I didn't know that was an issue in Russia. That being said, okay, so Russia, so you make the argument Russia can't do climate change issues because, you know, toilets, which seems, again, reductionary at best. But, like, just because Russia has a toilet problem means other countries can't address climate change. Again, what?
How many of you are going to go home tonight and say, let's rip out our bathroom and erect a Siberian shithouse in the back garden? And if you're not, why should they? 120 million people in China do not have enough food.
Again, so what? Poor people exist in other countries, therefore we should not address climate change? What the fuck, man? These things are not connected, bro.
I don't mean that they don't get dessert. I mean they suffer from malnutrition. That means that their immune system is breaking down because they don't have enough food. You're not going to get them to stay poor. Imagine.
Yeah, no, he's literally doing a speech, talking to himself and moving goalposts all over the fucking place. Like, we can't, like, address climate change until every household in Russia gets toilets and everybody in China is fed. What? What?
Imagine you're Xi Jinping, the leader of China. When you were 10 years old, there was a revolution, a cultural revolution in your country, and people...
But, I mean, have you addressed the issue of the price of tea in China? We should probably address that issue, most important of all.
People came and they put your father in prison. Your mother had to denounce him. Your sister killed herself. And you, no longer enjoying the protection of your formerly powerful father, were sent to a village where you lived in a cave house. And here you are, decades later. You have clawed your way up.
Oh, duck shoes, you got a good point. The real argument that he's talking about is random poor people and not the trillionaire nations that could make great green jobs for those poor people to work. That's a good point. That literally destroys his whole argument. His whole argument is like, we can't address this stuff. And it's like, actually, we could give these people green jobs and fix it. Like, that's the thing these guys like to ignore. Like, if we actually properly address climate change, it would require changing a lot of industries, which means making a lot of jobs. Aren't jobs supposed to be a good thing? Like, well-paying jobs. Good jobs. All addressing climate change. Literally making the world a better place in, like, pretty much every foreseeable metric. Properly addressing climate change would be good across the board. But let's ignore that because 20% of Russian households don't have an indoor toilet because that's relevant to this conversation somehow.
The bloody and greasy pole of Chinese politics, to be the undisputed supreme leader of the very Communist Party that destroyed your family. And you know that the main thing you have to do to survive and to stay in power is to deliver the one thing that the people of China want: prosperity, economic.
Yes, and if we work towards a green future, we could actually push towards that. And that, you know, like, we don't control China. China's going to have to do their own way, but we could push them towards that. If we start doing it, and we start getting, like, wealthy, like, you know, our middle class starts getting boosted up, and we start doing really well, it's going to make, like, China look bad, and they're going to have to stand up as well. And, you know, and if it gets really bad, that's when you do shit like sanctions and stuff like that. But yeah.
Economic growth. Where do you think climate change ranks on Xi Jinping's list of priorities.
Okay, so why are we judging our priorities based on Xi Jinping's priorities? Why should his interpretation of what's important matter towards, like, our reading of the facts?
A third of all children who live in extreme poverty in the world live in India.
And the price of tea in China. What the hell?
Means they are starving and dying of preventable disease. Now, about 15 months ago, my wife got pregnant. Not me, because we're old school.
I did a trans joke. Get it? Ah, ha, ah, ah.
And for 9 months, we talked about what our boy would look like, what he might do when he grows up. We looked at baby scans and videos on YouTube about what the fetus looks like at 9 months and 12 months and 20 months. And eventually he was born. And he is this cute little bundle of joy. He's cuter than about 80% of puppies, right? Now, if you said to me that I had a choice, either my son had a serious risk of starving or dying from a preventable disease in the next year, or I could press a button and he would live. He would go to school. He would bring his first girlfriend home. He'd go to university and graduate and become a woke idiot. And then he'd get a job and get married and have children and become a man. But all I have to do is press this button. And for every day of my son's life, a giant plume of CO2 is going to get released into the atmosphere. Now, you're all very young, and most of you are not parents. Let me tell you something. There is not a parent in the world who would not smash that button so hard their hand bled.
What the fuck? That is, like... I mean, there's got to be a term for that. But, like, you're essentially setting up a completely false dilemma. Nobody is asking somebody to press that button, because that would be insane. What? I mean, is his argument, is that, like, oh, yeah, no, that's what happens in real life? Because that's the thing. That's what we're talking about addressing, dude. Like, what? And that's... The speech is supposed to be about wokeness, too. And he's talking about climate change. Ugh. Yeah, false balance, false binary. Yeah, this is like, what? Yeah, no, there's not a parent in the world that would doom the planet for their child. Yeah. Jesus. And that, and I want to stress too, that is entirely a feelings-based argument. He just argued that it's the woke people that do the feelings-based argument, but he just did an entirely feelings-based argument right there.
You are not going to get these people to stay poor. You're not even going to get them to not want to be richer. And so, I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one thing we can do in this country to stop climate change, and that is to make scientific and technological breakthroughs that will create the clean energy that is not only clean, but also cheap. And no, thank you. And the only, I want everyone to get home on time today, which is not going to happen.
So I kind of want to go over that last sentence he said there.
Put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one thing we can do in this country to stop climate change, and that is to make scientific and technological breakthroughs that will create the clean energy that is not only clean, but also cheap.
Yes. That is what you do, and that is literally what you're arguing against right now.
And no, thank you. And the only, I want everyone to get home on time today, which is not going to happen. And the only thing that wokeness has to offer in exchange is to brainwash bright young minds like you to believe that you are victims.
What? What? What the Oh, I might go insane. I'm going to spend 9-minute speech talking 8 minutes about climate change and only at the beginning and end briefly bring up wokeness as if that was relevant to anything I said during the rest of the speech. What is this? Is this real? This is considered like an anti-woke intellectual? What the fuck am I watching? This is like the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. Oh my god.
To believe that you have no agency, to believe that what you must do to improve the world is to complain.
Well, lots of people only have their voice, and social media has allowed them to amplify their voice. So what they're doing is they're saying, hey, so-and-so is bad, and I support so-and-so. And to the people who fight against it, the anti-woke people, all I ask is that you listen. Listen to the facts. Listen, understand how dumb this guy's argument just was and how it had nothing to do with wokeness and was just all about, skirting around climate change and not even fucking addressing climate change.
Is to protest, is to throw soup on paintings.
Yeah, show this to woke people. Yes, they can laugh at it. This is...
And we on this side of the house are not on this side.
Yeah, no, I'm cured of wokeness now. He did it. Success.
Side of the house because we do not wish to improve the world. We sit on this side of the house because we know that the way to improve the world is to work, is to create, it is to build.
Yes, okay, you just made the argument. Create clean energy jobs. There's an entire industry out there of clean energy jobs just waiting to be created, and all it takes is the will and the power to push that forward. That's literally all it takes. That's all you have to do. Push that forward. And I don't know if you're actually a representative or you're just talking to Oxford Union. But yeah, all it takes is people, political power and money. Well, political power would be the main thing, but money influences them, obviously, unfortunately. But political power to have the willingness to push through, and we could make an entire industry around clean energy that would help preserve the planet and raise the income for the entire world, frankly, if we all push it forward. Green energy can help make the world a better place on every metric. And you just put down an argument against it and somehow weave wokeness into it, even though you didn't even talk about wokeness. So what the...
And the problem with woke culture is that it's trained too many young minds like yours to forget about that. Thank you.
The problem with anti-woke culture is that you just spent 9 minutes talking, or 8 minutes talking about climate change in your anti-woke speech that had nothing to do with fucking wokeness, bro. That was hilariously bad. Oh my god. This guy's kind of funny. Ugh. I have to admit, this... Why winning won't fix your problems. Jordan Peterson, and oh my god, he's gonna talk with... We're gonna watch this guy talking to Jordan Peterson, because that sounds fucking hilarious. I want to see this.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.